What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here. In today's mission, we're here to talk about if The Last of Us 2 was delayed because of Final Fantasy VII Remake. The release dates were really close and fans have been speculating about it, so stay tuned soldiers, it's time for our next mission. The Last of Us 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake are two of the most anticipated titles in the world right now. Originally they were scheduled to release 2 weeks apart, with Last of Us 2 releasing on February 21st and the remake releasing March 3rd. However, The Last of Us 2 was delayed until May 29th of 2020. That being said, 2 weeks was not a lot of time for gamers to have between games, and money could definitely be a factor when determining which game to pick up. For me, I'd pick up the remake first, but I planned on picking up The Last of Us 2 as well. I will say this, I don't think the delays are directly related, but the remake could have been a factor. Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to sell a lot of copies, and at $60 or more, 2 weeks isn't a lot of time for consumers to enjoy a game and then jump right into the next one. The release date for the remake has also been set since the day before E3, with The Last of Us 2 only revealing it at Sony's most recent state of play. Now we'll get into what Naughty Dog had to say about it. In response to the delay, Neil Druckmann, the director of The Last of Us 2, released a statement on the PlayStation blog. I'll link the full statement in the description below in case you want to read it. He stated, "As we were closing out sections of the game, we realized we simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to a level of polish we would call Naughty Dog quality. At this point, we were faced with two options, compromise parts of the game or get more time. All games have a polishing process once the main part is finished, however, I don't feel as though this is the only reason. Naughty Dog has suffered several delays in the past, and does so enough that it's been pretty normal for them. Granted, their games look absolutely incredible, but this announcement came exactly a month after the trailer revealing the release date. Let's also keep in mind they had over 4 months to work on the rest of this game before it released. The first Last of Us sold more than 17 million copies, which makes it one of the highest selling games of all time. With The Last of Us 2 being highly anticipated, Sony expects a high amount of sales from the Naughty Dog product. However, it will definitely have competition with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The original Final Fantasy VII sold over 11 million copies and counting, especially with ports to all modern consoles. With it now being an action RPG, fans that never touched the original because it was turn-based will now be introduced to the franchise. This will create a lot of potential sales, likely shattering franchise sales records. In all honesty, they won't want the sales of either games compromised just for the sake of a release date. There's also another reason I believe these delays could be potentially related. Sony has another first-party title that has been delayed till late 2020, Ghost of Tsushima. While it never received a release date, most people assumed late spring or early summer 2020. This, however, has been pushed back according to Jason Schreier. In continuance of his tweet about The Last of Us 2 delay, he stated, "By the way, Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have a public release date yet, but it'll also be bumped later into 2020 to account for this delay. Don't expect them to suddenly turn it into a PS5 game or anything, but it was originally planned for the first half of the year. Not anymore." Regardless, I think we're looking at a smarter business model here by Sony, as they'll also want to account for their quarterly earnings. Final Fantasy VII Remake will round out their fiscal year, as they'll see a month's worth of sales before closing it out. Sales will also trickle into the first quarter of the fiscal year. Then we'll have a couple of months before The Last of Us 2, which will sell a massive amount of copies during the first and second quarters of the year. Then we'll most likely see Ghost of Tsushima in the third quarter, and the sales from that will drive them into the last quarter of the year, where they'll want to finish out strong with the PS5 sales and PS5 launch titles. Overall, while I don't think they had a meeting and explicitly stated it was because of the remake, I think The Last of Us 2 was definitely related in some way. Sony will want their titles spread throughout the fiscal year to help keep gamers' interest in the lead up to the PlayStation 5. I'm excited for all the PlayStation exclusives to launch next year, but especially Final Fantasy VII Remake. So what do you think, soldiers? Were the delays related to Final Fantasy VII Remake? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to omni-slash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below if you think The Last of Us 2 delay was related to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy VII Remake news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys.